Thank you. Representative George Dunbar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Chancellor, guests. Good to see you again. I noticed the appropriation hearing, but I'm going to toss aside my appropriation hat and put on my other hat, that of daddy, which, as you know, Chancellor, my Princess Dunbar #3 is matriculated to Slippery Rock this year, following Princess Daughter #1, who graduated from Slippery Rock. So my concerns as a dad is, you know, one of the hardest things we could ever do as a dad is when you leave those little girls off and shut the door and drive away. So my concern deals with safety. Representative Dean had hit on earlier about It's On Us PA, which is a program that is designed to raise awareness and prevent sexual violence. Not only just that, but all forms of campus safety. Can you give us a little bit more details how this is going, and how you're also, most importantly, how you're going to measure the results of the program?
Yes, sir. It's On Us is a national program that our state has signed on to, our system has signed on to, and it's one of many approaches that our 14 universities are utilizing to increase education awareness, but also to redouble our efforts in terms of how we deal with the problems of sexual assaults on university and college campuses. Because as we know, it's like preparing for a natural disaster. All the preparation in the world is wonderful and necessary, but at some point when you actually have a natural disaster, you better be ready to deal with the aftermath of that. And half a loaf is not good enough. And so part of this program, It's On Us, is that all of us are responsible for the atmosphere on our campuses, for the educational opportunity, the awareness opportunities, and aftermath opportunities that we need to make available if and when that becomes necessary. These are cultural issues that we're not only dealing with as a microcosm of society in the country, it is prevalent all across the country, and not just in higher ed. I'm mortified at the numbers that I see coming out of high schools and middle schools around our country. That was a big point made during the It's On Us presentation, that it is not just a responsibility of colleges, universities, and community colleges. It's bringing together those sectors with K through 12, pre-K through 12 education in dealing with this issue. I'll make a statement that will sound perhaps a bit glib, but I believe this. Students who walk on to the East Stroudsburg campus don't suddenly become sexual predators. Anytime a student is engaged in these activities, it's largely based on issues they bring with them when they come. And that starts very early on in a child's life. And we have, as a nation, we need to begin to address this holistically and recognize that that tragedy that occurs at a university, which creates a victim and a perpetrator, didn't start there. It got its terrible roots well in front of that, and that's a big part of what we're doing at our universities. And Representative, I'd like Dr. Driscoll, because they're just one great example of dealing with this national issue, if you will indulge the opportunity to address that as well.
Thank you. And I'll just mention a few things. I'm proud of what the folks on my campus have been doing for a long time to address the concerns that you raise. We have done a number of things related to education, support for those that are victims, and measuring the results. And so let me just highlight that from 2004 to 2012, we received a total of about $650,000 from the Department of Justice to build programs related to those aspects of the situation, well before some of the current noise has arisen about this important issue. And so we have some things in place, including partnerships with agencies in our community, so that if someone comes forward as a victim of sexual violence, they can find support. They can be told, they can be handed to the right sort of support as they go forward. But in more recent times, as we built on that funding and that experience, we have undertaken significant training activities. And so every year, every one of our employees goes through training related to recognizing, responding to, education about what sexual harassment, sexual violence may be. I'm incredibly proud to say that all of our employees did that in this year. I can't say that about very many things at a university, and so with great work from staff, great training, we're adding online training. We provide peer educators, so we have students talking to other students to make sure that they have a safe place, a comfortable place to talk about some challenging issues sometimes. And so a lot of activities are going on, and we're not that different from our peers in the system. All of us take these issues seriously. I do want to touch briefly on measuring the success of the results. So I can say that we're doing all of these things. Measurement is a difficult challenge here. If I receive more reports of sexual assault from last year, does that mean it's a failure? Or does that mean that I've enabled folks who have been assaulted to come forward? And so a pretty typical approach that's being standardized across the country is to administer an anonymous survey to allow people to answer freely about their experiences. We are implementing the first survey focused just on that in April. We have some questions that have been on other surveys we've done, but we're going to try to do that annually as well to see what the real incidence is as best we can estimate. Again, do people not report? Well, that would perhaps seem good because there were no sexual assaults, but of course that's not a realistic picture. So I could go on, but that's probably
And
more than
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
You want to tell me about East Stroudsburg? Do you feel comfortable there?
Yes.
You're somebody's prince. I have a lot of princesses. You're somebody's prince.
Somebody's
Yeah.
prince.
Yeah, I mean, from President Driscoll's perspective, we have a lot of training programs for specifically student workers. We have our alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs department. Those are peer educators who come. They have their mandatory sessions with athletic teams on campus. So anytime that you have direct access to other people, more than likely, or when you are a student under a microscope or a highlight, you definitely are given training opportunities. Many of us go through Title IX trainings and Clery trainings, and we're very knowledgeable of campus resources too. The campus tour guide is going to say, we have emergency blue light call box systems on campus. When you're standing at one, you can see two others. So if at any point you feel uncomfortable, press the button. Even if you're just uncomfortable, you don't have to actually be in a system or a circumstance of danger to press the button. You're not going to get in trouble for doing it, just so long as you're not pranking and, being immature. So yeah, we have those emergency call boxes on campus. Also, we have text messaging alert systems too. You have to opt in through esu.edu, but in doing so, you're getting alerts from snow cancellations to possible circumstances that concern safety on campus as well. So yeah, I think from my perspective, my university does a wonderful job in terms of safety.
And I'll end on that one, Representative, by saying this, because this is a hot topic in higher education. You know that as a dad, safety. We match our crime statistics because we're very much like small cities or boroughs. We match our crime statistics up against the crime statistics of the local governments in which we're located, and we are better almost across the board at our universities than the local areas. Doesn't mean their crime statistics are significant. It just means we work to try to make sure that our crime statistics, because we try to suppress criminal activity, are always lower than the surrounding areas we're in. Safety is of paramount import.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.